let me start with the child data portal because it was mentioned already. So that's the web page that you come to if you just Google the name of our portal, and which basically give you access. The idea here was to gather into one place all the information that we got from international surveys, on cross-national surveys about child well-being, and yes, and to develop, yes, to collect this data and to develop indicators, and not only looking at national average, but giving accessible information about cross-national differences by some of the socio-economic characteristics, I mean by gender, by income group or social status, by education of parents, by migration background of parents. That's the 4 key dimensions that we consider. So you can find in these data sets information for each indicator, information on the differences by these dimensions, with the information so whether this is statistically significant or not. So because basically it was not available in the directly from the other sources. So we made that effort. What do we cover in that data portal? We cover so basically first perhaps to resituate also in terms of child well-being approach that we have. We try to follow the development of the child well-being literature, so meaning that we take definitely a dynamic approach of child well-being, considering that more child development than child well-being, so child becoming, if I take the term that you can find also in the literature. So it means that we want also as much as possible, but it's not always possible given the data that are available, to take into account rights, but also perception of children. But it means that we try to provide information not only on child outcomes, but also on the resources that they get from the environment or from schools, and also about behaviors. So, which even if the link between behavior and outcome is not clear always, but I mean here it will be risky health behavior or some kind of social behavior. So that's the aim. So that's. Then we try to provide the information that is available for different age group of children. But what is clear from the data that are available, again from an international perspective, from a comparative perspective, is that you can get quite a large set of information for the very early years in terms of, especially on health, that depends on the health statistics that are available or demographic statistics that are available. Quite large information for adolescents from the HBAC or from the PISA surveys, for instance, that we had, but in between, there is a lot. The other difficulty is that, of course, most of the indicators that we are able to build are age-specific. It means that you can't follow the same outcome or the same variable through the age. So that's basically one limit of the exercise. And the limit also of the exercise is that we have very limited information about the child perception of their lives. We discuss. We have few from the HBAC. We have some for adolescents with the HBAC and with PISA surveys, but it's very limited. For instance, and the additional information we include also about the perception of the home environment it's self-reported information, but by parents, and also for when there is some question about the accessibility to leisure structure. In Silk survey, European Silk survey, for instance, the information is given by the parents. So very limited information from the children themselves. We did not include in the data portal the data from the Children World survey because we have also a constraint. We have to cover a minimum of OECD countries. And for the time being, there was too little countries, so we couldn't. Let me focus now on the material deprivation part. So we have conducted some work on child poverty, so income poverty, and then we have looked at the relationships between income poverty and material deprivation. Here it is for France too, and so material deprivation in different dimensions, in housing quality, access to the possibility to replace worn clothes, basic nutrition, access to educational resources, to leisure opportunities and social opportunities, and to information on neighborhood quality. What shows up from this slide is that, of course, income poor children are more likely to experience some kind of deprivation, but material deprivation goes beyond only income poor. So you have a significant proportion of children, non-income poor children, that face also material deprivation. But more than that, it's also very important to look at the frequency of multiple kinds of deprivation. So we made some kind of latent class analysis with this data to identify different groups of children experiencing different kinds of material deprivation. So we came out with 3 groups in France, for instance, that are highly deprived, but for which the combination, the kind of deprivation is different. So the combination of the deprivations that they experience is different. You have one group which represents around one in 5 children, 1 in 5 income poor children. Who are heavily deprived. They experience deprivation in all the dimensions. And it's linked to very specific socioeconomic characteristics. You are more likely to be in that group if you are in a single parent household, and if you are in the very lowest income decile, so extremely income poor. That's the 2 factors that really affect this group. Then you have another group, so which represent more than 1/3 of the income poor children, who are mostly deprived in terms of housing, so they live in bad quality housing, and they are also so that's their key risk. Also, a large fraction of them are also deprived in terms of leisure opportunities or in terms of the quality of their neighborhood. And you have also a group of children that seems to experience only it's not a moral difference, it's not a judgment, but to experience deprivations in capacities to replace worn clothes or to have access to leisure activities. So the idea then is really to try to figure out the combination, the group of children that are experiencing multiple deprivations, that have multiple needs, because one policy issue is to address all these needs together. And in many countries, the administration, policies, programs that are responding to these different needs, they are separated. They are working in silo. So for us, it's very important to really show to countries that you have a large group of children that are experiencing, that have different kind of problems, more or less linked to income poverty, and you have to address these needs together. And the policy implication is that you have to have more coordination between your social services and the policy programs.